Let's go. Yep. Dum, da-da-dum. So we need to get the dress out. Well, after having so many dresses for so many occasions of the wedding, every dress needed to match exactly a moment and be perfect for that moment, for the location, and for the spirit. We need to open the roof. Look at this. It's like going over and over, and it never ends. Oh. We have the Alaya for the Piazzetta, and then with the Valentino or the Tom Brown for Sweden. Then we will see the after party and the big party on the Saturday. But this one needed to say wedding, needed to say ceremony, classical dress, like the wedding dress.
How does it feel to see the dress?
It's a lot of emotion. I almost separate myself from the piece of couture, I don't know. And on the other side is like the culmination of this moment, of this wedding and my life. It is even more impressive than I remember. And what do you think?
I mean, it's a fantasy. It's gorgeous.
It is fantasy. It was a lot about Alexander McQueen aesthetic that really made a lot of sense. I wanted to have something that it was incredible. I wanted to have a woman to design my wedding dress. Sarah was the perfect fit. And Sarah was just fabulous. She really, really cared about make me happy in the most Alexander McQueen and Sarah Burton way. We didn't have the church, so I wanted to be the church myself. It was like, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it Geo way, and we're gonna make a big train. I got married on a rock in front of the sea in an island, and I wanted to have this sort of like almost osmosis about where is the rock and the water finishing and when is the dress starting. There is a sea of reference, big important dresses. This was one of the shows Sarah worked on where inspired the construction of the organza. This corset was very much an inspiration. It was also important for me that I did not want to look like a princess, I wanted to look like a queen. I always admired those portraits of queens in the Renaissance time. For me, it was like the wildest dream was to have something that it will recall those portraits. The corset here is a mix of silver thread and pearls and canotilla. The details are incredible, and it's all like three-dimensional. I wanted to have this like almost Tudor-esque, medieval almost construction, and the corset shooting out in this almost architectural way. And then we wanted to have water from a very constrained and very sculptural to very, very fluid and very, very alive. Look how many, well, look at the studies just behind here. We did so many studies to get to that perfect result. Here it's some of the first sketches, embroideries, testing in different stages, embroidery test on the corset. These were only tests, can you believe how beautiful? Different stage of the dress with the study of the organza. I thought that the organza was a perfect way to mimic the water breaking into the rocks and create foam. It's all handmade. The effect is done by pulling by hand. We wanted to have this really like mare in tempesta in Italian, it's like rough sea, and then having this incredibly contained corset. We started with Sarah. The skirt was like contained, and then we went more and more and more and more and more.
How many meters of organza?
I believe it's like over a couple of hundreds, like
450 meters.
I forgot it was 450 meters the total because we made the skirt twice. The skirt was basically finished, and the organza, it was beautiful, but it wasn't upbeat, it was a different vibe. And I remember like I couldn't sleep an entire night, don't know what to do, and I really didn't have the courage to call anyone and McQueen. And then I'm like, I'm gonna get married once, it will torture me. So I take a call, it's like worst case, she was gonna say no. And when I spoke to her, right away she said, you're right, we will do the skirt. Hundreds of meters of organza later, They managed to do the skirts bit by bit. It looked like he was totally alive. You see when he does this movement like that.
It really looks like an ocean.
It does, right?
Tell me about the experience of putting it on.
It was incredible. The whole ritual of my best friends and of course my bridesmaid around me and like just putting it on, and everyone, you could see the light and the eyes. Everyone was like so genuinely happy. There were like people in the rocks like clapping. It was just such a moment. I mean, the good thing was that it was quite far to go. So at least I got to wear it. It felt too short though, now that I think about it. I could never forget Oscar's face when he saw me. It was like, and that it was exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to get married. Can you believe this?
Really?
I never wanted to get married, no. Everyone was like, excuse me. I was like, if I'm getting married, if I'm doing this, I'm gonna do this fully. I found this, of course, was the celebration of the love between me and my husband, but also was sealing something that I've been working for so long, for so many years in my career. My first apartment in Milan was like big as this box, and probably the one in New York the same. It's all this relationship and culmination of work that have been done for so many years. It kind of like represents all into this dress.